This isn't another video telling you that scrolling on your phone is wasting your time and killing your productivity, because the truth is you already know that. You already know that these apps are pulling you away from your goals, and so you don't need me to tell you that. But here's where most people get stuck. Most people try to fix their productivity by making big to-do lists, creating schedules, waking up earlier, or trying to force discipline. However, none of that actually solves the real problem, because the issue isn't just to do with your time, but it's that your brain is in the wrong state to focus. And until you fix that, trying harder won't lead to real progress. And so in this video, I'm going to show you what's actually going wrong and exactly how to fix it. So let's think about it like this. Imagine there is a petri dish full of healthy bacteria, and everything is balanced, growing, and functioning the way that it should. Now imagine we pour something into the dish and things start to change. The balance is disrupted, some die off, spots appear, and it no longer works the same. Would you blame the bacteria for not functioning correctly? Of course not. It was the environment that changed and the system responded. And as human beings, we are no different to that bacteria. Your brain and body is constantly adapting to what you expose it to. And so the quality of your environment has the ability to either make or break how well you function. And so there was once a time where your brain was living in a balanced and healthy state, and you were able to think clearly, be present, and focus. However, just like the bacteria in the petri dish, something new was added to the environment, and it began to change its system and fall out of balance. In this case, what's been added is constant stimulation, checking your phone every few minutes, jumping from video to video, playing video games non-stop, listening to a podcast while you walk, and receiving never-ending notifications, messages, and updates. And slowly over time, your brain adapted. Your attention became fragmented. You started craving constant novelty, and things that once felt easy to do started to feel hard to focus on. And so the reason you keep struggling to be productive isn't because you're undisciplined, but it's because you're trying to operate with a brain that's been conditioned for distraction, not for focus. In other words, you're not the problem. The problem is your environment that's been shaping your brain. And until you address that root cause, you will continue to struggle to be productive or focus. You may have heard of the analogy of the frog in boiling water. If you drop a frog in boiling hot water, it will jump out immediately, because otherwise it would die, right? But if you put a frog in warm water and every day you gradually increase the temperature by just 1 degree, it adapts. It doesn't realize the temperature is rising until one day it's too late and it dies. Well, you are very much like that frog in hot water. Your distracted brain didn't just happen overnight, but it built up gradually. And so because of that, you've adapted to it. You see this state as normal, and it's become harder to recognize the problem. However, the good news is that this is completely reversible, and you are not stuck like this. And just as your brain gradually became distracted and overstimulated due to its environment, you can also rewire it in the opposite direction by changing your environment and habits. And so if you're willing to go on this journey and take back control of your mind, then you're going to have to go through what I like to call the hill of discomfort. Because before you can reach the other side and get to a place of focus and productivity and peace and calm, you first have to walk up the hill, which means you're going to have to face resistance, and things are most likely going to feel worse before they get better. Stage 1 is all about reducing stimulation and taking time away from social platforms. Think of this stage as your brain is detoxing from constant distraction and overstimulation. And so during the first few days, usually days 1 to 5, you are going to feel restless, agitated, bored, and you will have cravings for constant stimulation. And this is completely normal. Your brain is rewiring itself to function without constant distraction and learning how to live in a more balanced state again. However, unfortunately, this is where most people quit, because the discomfort feels unbearable, their cravings become too strong, and so they go back to scrolling or Netflix or YouTube or video games. But this discomfort isn't a sign to stop, but it is a sign that the detox is working. This is exactly the stage that matters because your brain is resetting and you are finally breaking the cycle. And so it's important not to expect yourself to be hyper productive within this stage. This isn't the time to sit down and study for 8 hours or write a book or try and get your whole entire life together. Right now the goal is to let your brain adjust to lower levels of stimulation. And so what worked for me during this stage was to just try and distract myself with low stimulation activities that will just help you pass time. For example, I went for walks, sometimes going for several walks a day, maybe hang out with a friend, maybe go to the gym, maybe play a board game, maybe go and drive your car and just listen to music. And no, it didn't always feel fun and I didn't feel good and I wasn't expecting myself to be productive. But the key is just to get yourself through this first stage. I promise you, once you make it through this first week, your cravings will ease, your mind starts to feel calmer, and it will be easier to focus on other things. Also, if you've tried to fix this problem before, but you keep falling back into old habits, then I've put something together to help you reduce your screen time and take back control. This isn't just about reducing the hours you spend online, but it's about building real life habits, getting clarity on what you want, and overcoming fear of failure so that you can make real progress towards your goals. And so if that interests you, then check out the link in the description to get started. Okay, so now after stage 1, you are just about reaching the top of the discomfort hill and you enter stage 2, which is around 1 to 2 weeks in. Here is where you will start to notice improved focus, mental clarity, and even an improvement in your mood. You'll probably notice that you have more motivation for boring tasks such as cleaning your room, reading a book, going for a walk, and tasks that used to feel overwhelming to do will start to feel more manageable. And finally, you'll enter stage 3 at the other side of the hill, which is around 3 to 4 weeks in. Here you will notice productivity starts to feel way easier and it won't be an uphill battle. You'll start to be able to do deeper work, concentrate for longer periods, and your thoughts will feel calmer and more organized. However, do not be fooled. Just because you made it to the other side of the hill does not mean all is well. You are still in the early stages of rewiring your brain, and the truth is you cannot go back to your old ways. Because if you go back to the same habits and the same environment, you're going to get the same results. It's not easy, but I promise you, when you get to the other side of that hill, your brain is going to be in a much better state to focus and productivity starts to become effortless. You're not trying to force yourself harder or be more disciplined or make all these crazy schedules, but instead focus comes more naturally to you. When you change your environment, you change your response, and this will give you the power to take back control of your mind and focus on the important things. I hope this video could have helped you think differently, and all the best moving forward. Thank you for watching.